today I'm super excited to have guest Sergio Gonzalez. I'm your host, Yvonne Arnold, and today we are going to talk about some really interesting things because my friend Sergio has a lot of experience in different aspects of the real estate space. So, Sergio, welcome. Happy to have you here.
Awesome to be here.
Yeah. You and I met, I think, maybe 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You were just starting out, or you had been in real estate, and you were in the 805, which explain to everybody the 805.
Yeah. So the 805 stretches from Ventura County to Santa Barbara County to San Luis Obispo County. Bakersfield got kicked out of the 805. They turned into the 661.
That's like Riverside got kicked out of and we ended up the 909 out of the 714.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's just like this cultural phenomenon around the 805. It's very community centric. And a lot of things have come out of that, right? So you have 805 beers, you have 805, which is like a disaster kind of relief charitable organization that's come out of it. You have 805 Living, which is a magazine. We started a charity called 805 Life out of that. So it was only natural that we would come out with 805 Escrow and 805 Title around that. So
interesting. And of course, I'm very familiar with the 805 beer. What's interesting to me is that you started in selling real estate, or what'd you do before real estate?
Sure. Big background is my dream job, right, was to be a cinematographer.
Really?
In the movie industry.
And hence 805 Media.
Yeah, exactly. So my dream was to be a cinematographer. I went to film school at LMU, and then I got an internship, which led into me getting a full career in the movie industry. So I was actually in the movie industry for 7 years while I was going to school to be a cinematographer. So that's when I had changed majors to finance. But so I was doing Spider-Man, I did American Pie, I did music videos with Nas and like really fun stuff, right? That's where like the creative storytelling and marketing in me was born, right?
That gives me so much more perspective now. If I had only known that earlier in our relationship. What's interesting is what most people don't know is the 805, that whole area is the movie stars and Hollywood gravitates to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that all kind of ties in now.
Yeah. Like Lake Sherwood and North Ranch, Westlake Village as a whole is like the Beverly Hills of the 805. And then you jump to the Oxnard Beach, Channel Islands, beachfront communities. And then you jump to Carpinteria and Santa Barbara, Montecito, where, you have all the mega stars living. So the 805 is full of like, when you want privacy, exclusivity, peace.
It's where all the big money goes, is how I say it. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Because the other areas of California are talked about a lot in that world, but that is the
Orange County. You're like, you got to jump Orange County.
Yeah.
You're jumping down south even further to parts of North County of San Diego, right? So.
Yeah, you have access to everything. You're right in the middle of the state, basically. And in the most beautiful part of the state, I think, as you get up into, and then you get up into the wine country and all of that. So very interesting. And so you got finance, then were you in mortgage first and then real estate?
Yeah. How I got into real estate finance. One, I had changed my major to finance, taking some real estate finance courses and learning about that kind of stuff. And then I was dating someone at that point that was a loan officer. And I was making six figures in the film industry, right, while I was in school. So I was already making a lot of money. And then I was dating this girl who was a loan officer. I was like, what do you do? She seemed to be making like stupid money at the same time. And she was like, oh, I'm in real estate finance. I help people qualify for purchases and refinances. And she was making more money than I was. I was like maybe.
What year was that?
That was like 2000.
Okay.
And so 2000, 2001. And I got this wild idea that I should stop the movie industry and become a loan officer, get my real estate license.
So what everybody needs to know about that in California is that California was coming out of the 90s
Yeah.
foreclosure market and crash. We
Yes.
had the aerospace industry that went out of the industry and went kaput and went out of California,
The
and it
savings and
crashed.
loans, and the savings and loans.
And the savings and loan debacle, all of that was happening in the 90s. And around 98, 99 was when we were starting to come out of it. So you got in at the original, like back in the early 2000s, the original really big increase. So interesting. Very
Yeah.
good.
So I became a loan officer. So I went from making a lot of money to making no money because you're in commission as a loan officer. So
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do all that. And so my clients were real estate agents, of course, prospecting and doing those things. And so I started doing that. And then I got recruited to become an account executive in wholesale lending. So then mortgage brokers and loan officers were then my clients because I was noticing those account executives were making a good amount of money as well. And I was like, and so I got recruited into doing that. And that's really where I started making stupid money because I was doing subprime loans at that time as an account executive. So Countrywide, Urgent Mortgage, Centex Home Mortgage. And so the market was crazy and boom. Like I remember I had at that time, I think it was because I put myself through school. I had 45-ish thousand dollars in school debt and these student loans that they get you on. And I
Yeah.
remember like crushing it and getting these paychecks that were like starting out at 10, 15, 20. I think my biggest check at that time was like $38,000. And I was like, holy shit. And
And you weren't married yet. You were
I
just
wasn't even
single.
married yet. Yeah, I was single living. So every account executive is driving like Porsche,
Yeah.
Maserati,
Yeah.
crazy times, right? And so I paid off my school debt. That was like one of my first biggest accomplishments in the real estate space. And so subsequently just skyrocketing through
Well,
2000.
and then the new construction started booming as well, all
Yeah.
through California. So we had new construction everywhere.
Yeah, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just life is amazing, right? Buying house, buy cars, buy this, buy that. Around 2006, like we start noticing this company's closing, this company's closing, this company's closing. And I'm like, this is not good. And so I started noticing, okay, subprime's going to go away. Where are people going to go? And I was like, I'm going to get this license called HUD, right, to originate FHA because subprime's going away. And so I got licensed as a broker in 2006. I had all these subprime clients, right, everywhere throughout Southern California, LA, and I became a broker at that time. And I opened up a mortgage broker company to then be able to facilitate all these HUD FHA loans. And so nobody had this license at this time. It was like a thing that you did. And so it went dormant and went away. And so I got licensed and then I went to all of my wholesale clients and I'm like, hey, subprime's going away. You're going to need to understand how to underwrite, originate FHA loans. I have this license. We should work together. You put your deals through me and then I'll facilitate them just like I was an account executive. So boom, I set up shop. I had 3 TCs at that time, I guess, loan processors working from home. I'm working out of the house and I'm basically visiting all of these loan officers, teaching them how to originate FHA. I hired an underwriter. Then I was doing so much FHA loans that I got a warehouse line to become a correspondent at that time. So now I was a broker banker.
That's big. Yeah.
And so because I was just doing so much volume. And so I was at that time, we were like, the market starts crashing in 07, 8, 9, 10. The market's going like this. I'm skyrocketing like this because
Nobody had the FHA loan. And that was the only loan really that anybody was able to put through.
exactly. So I was skyrocketing at that time.
Not to mention the HUD foreclosures were giant. So
Yep.
HUD was refinancing the deals that they had as foreclosure properties.
Yep. And so out of that, I was like, hey, I should, now that I'm a broker banker, what does it look like to become a direct underwriter through HUD? So your full Eagle status so that you could make those decisions directly and not have to rely on your underwriter. And they make you go through these 12 at that time, I believe it was 12 case studies that they would call them. So you would underwrite the loan, and then you would close the loan, and then you'd have to send that loan to HUD where they would re-underwrite the loan and then tell you if there was anything wrong or missing or whatnot. And then you have to correct those conditions before they would take it off your warehouse line. Try telling that to a realtor, hey, I need to use your file as a test case study, and there may be a delay in
during a really crappy market.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
the agent's just going, please, Sergio, I just need my commission check.
Exactly. So I'm going through these case studies. So you have to do streamline refis. You got to do some reverse mortgages, and then you had to do purchases. So you had to do 7 of those were purchases and 6 of those were refis, kind of deal. So the streamlines you go through obviously really quick.
Did you do any 203Ks?
We did not through the case studies, but as an originator, yes.
You did them.
And so we're going through test case study. I'm having to pay for, I need extensions. So I would pay the storage for borrowers, and I would pay per diems for people just to give me that extra week time and whatnot. So come 2010, right? So I'm going through this, we're skyrocketing, life's great again. And the Dodd-Frank Act comes out. And so this was the big shakeup for the mortgage industry at
Dodd-Frank and CFPB.
And CFPB, which is equivalent to the whole NAR settlement of what just happened with the real estate space.
Yep.
And so what Dodd-Frank said was like, basically, like all of you loan officers that are 1099, right, independent contractors, we're wiping that. I had 25 loan officers that were 1099 that they're now expecting to be on payroll. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And I'm licensed in 13 states at this time: Florida, Hawaii, California, New Mexico, Arizona, like Colorado. Like I'm getting business from everywhere, and I have loan officers everywhere. And I'm like, I'm not putting these people on payroll. Are you insane? And then on top of that, then they're now wanting to fix that commission structure, that compensation structure, right? Hey, you can only set your compensation. So now not only do I have to put them on payroll, I have fixed commission structure. And then they're like, oh, and we also want you to increase your net worth liability asset allocation. I was like, what? What's
the benefit to you?
Yeah, I'm right? Like, this doesn't sound like this is going in a positive direction here.
No.
And
all under the guise of protecting the consumer.
Yeah, it was the biggest scam ever.
Biggest scam ever.
And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to not do that anymore. It just doesn't seem like it's worth it, all the effort, right? All the build and effort. I'm like, I'm going to become a realtor. So I'm living in Santa Barbara at that time. And I watched a few Tom Ferry videos. My ego was very big at that time as a lender, loan officer company.
Because everybody else is like tanking. They're losing their houses.
They're
everything. And you're like rolling.
Yeah, and I'm rolling. And I'm like, being a realtor, what a joke.
Totally do that.
Like, they don't know shit. We're the ones saving the deals all the time. And they don't know how to manage transactions. And I watched a few Tom Ferry videos at that time. I was like, I could do that. Boom, boom. Yeah. And I become a realtor, go into Prudential at that time, because I was like, just whoever has the most.
In Santa Barbara.
So I go in, they're like, okay, here's your split, here's your little desk, here's your cards, don't get us sued, go get business. And I was I was doing B2B, right, which were mortgage lenders and loan officers were my clients. And now I'm going B2C. I never even had to originate loans to B2C. So I was like, what am I supposed to do every day here now?
Who am I supposed to talk to?
How do I get this business again? And so I got a real slap of reality, right, of how to grow business B2C. And what was I supposed to do every day? And who am I supposed to talk to? And what am I supposed to say? And how do I market myself in that manner? And so
you and I had a similar beginning because you door knocked.
Yes, that was the thing, right? Because I knew B2B, I would just pop into offices or I would call them.
Yeah.
That was it.
Now I'm just going to go to somebody's house.
Yeah. And Facebook wasn't even around then. During that time. Instagram was not around during that time. It was just coming out. And when I became the realtor, then I was like, okay, 3 months in, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then that's when I got into coaching.
Yep.
So got into coaching. I was like, oh, okay, this is what I need, coaching. And someone to tell me what to do, how to do it, when to do it, blah, 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 blah.
Community, somebody,
Yeah.
there's more people like me. You never got to know the realtor per se.
Yeah. And because you're in this communities like
Yeah,
at the office, you think going into joining an organization at a real estate office, you think everybody's kumbaya. You think
right.
everybody's going to be like, oh, here's how I do it, or here's what I do, and let me show you the way. No, that is
Oh,
not.
by the way, let's tell everybody this is before teams, really.
Yeah, this would be 14.
There was not really, there was family teams like ours, but there was not the
Mother,
team.
daughter, son,
Yeah,
mother
exactly.
kind of scenario, but no real teams.
Mm-mm.
And so it was very guarded.
Guarded.
And so you still feel alone. You still feel on an island. It's very,
Yeah, everybody was your competition.
everybody's your competition. You're gated, right? All the information is gated. And so I
I
was,
used to knock doors and drop flyers.
yeah.
And another realtor in my market used to follow me around and pick them up. Come on.
It is. So I got into coaching, and Lisa Doyle was my first coach.
Oh, yeah.
And she's door knocking queen, right? Like
Yep.
she's master prospector. And I said, look, I just want a coach that's going to tell me what to say. I can do the work. I'll do the things. I literally just need somebody to tell me what to say and how to say it. And I had her for 3 years, and all we did was practice on what to say and what to say. And so anyway, so I was like, okay, I need listings. I want to be a listing agent. What do I need to do? She's like, you need to call FSBOs, you need to call expireds. And I was like, okay. And I would just get crushed on the phones, right? And then I would get crushed at the door. And so we worked on what to say and how to say. I said, Lisa, they said this. What would you say? And then I would write it down and I would practice it, and I'd go back out again. And I'm like, shit, I'm stuck again. And I come back to her. I was like, okay, I said that. They said this. What would you say? And then, so it was just this constant of rehearsal, and we role play and we role play and we role play until that year I was rookie of the year. I did 13 transactions, all listings that year. And they were all expires and they were all FSBOs. And so
You didn't give up.
I didn't give up, and I sucked.
And you were coachable.
I was coachable.
And you kept saying,
Give me more.
tell me more.
Exactly. And I think part of it is like you have to have a burning desire for skill. And I think people get confused coming into being a realtor of, okay, you have marketing and then you have skill, right? Mm-hmm. So which one's
We have a lot of marketing happening out there right now.
A lot of marketing happening, right? So what's more important?
Skill, in my opinion.
Hey, it is skill, because you can have the best marketing and get at bat, right?
And do nothing with those at bats.
And do nothing. You could be striking out.
Yes.
Then you have to go back and start over learning skill.
And spend more money marketing, thinking that, oh, I'll just throw more money at it. I'll learn AI now. I'll do this, and it'll compensate for the lack of skill. But it doesn't. It just doesn't.
Because I was always ask myself, I was like, how did this agent with the shitty photos or the shitty marketing,
how do they do it?
How did they get this client to trust them to list their home? And I'm like, this is embarrassing. Like, I would never present or represent someone's home, right? Someone's biggest asset like this if they had hired me. And I'm like, it has to be skill. It has to be what words and what tonality and what body language and how they're.
And are you giving off confidence?
Yeah. And how you're transferring certainty, right?
Exactly.
And so that's where I was like, okay. And I would tell the coach at that time, Lisa, I was like, I don't want to talk about marketing because I have marketing. I'm good with marketing. All I want to talk about is tell me what to say, how to say it, when to say it. And like, why is it not landing when I say what you tell me to say? And so we worked a lot on just pure skill. And I became obsessed with body language and facial expressions and tonality and pace of speech. And at that time, I can't think of it right now, the philosophy of NLP, there you go, right? NLP at that time, right? And so I was like, give me more, tell me more. Who can I learn from? And there's just levels to that game.
So many levels. And you know what? You don't have to get that detailed. You don't have to be the NLP guru or the body language person. You just have to know enough that you're not repelling people, right? Just enough so you don't repel them and you're giving off confidence. There's one thing though that because I coached you for a little bit, and the hunger that you have when you come to a call with somebody that you're learning from, I have not seen a lot of in the industry that we're in and the coaching world. You come to the call just like how you were just now saying, I don't need this, give me this. Like you were very dialed in on what your weaknesses were, and you were there to build those up and make them better.
Yeah. So I think that when people are looking at coaching and they want coaching and they're like, okay, yes, I want to do it. And then they think that they sign up for whatever organization and they're like, okay, give me a coach. And then magically, somehow,
Yeah.
that coach is supposed to know what your weaknesses are or your.
The magic wand, and
Yeah.
we're going to go, you are a superpower.
And I say, no, that's not how you should pick a coach. You should, and I always relate it to professional athletes is okay, if we use baseball as an example, you have a conditioning coach, you have a mindset coach, you have a nutrition coach, you have a batting coach,
Specialists.
you have specialists, right? And when you recognize that when you're interviewing coaches or you're seeking out coaches, you really should identify what is this coach's superpower? What is this coach's superpower? Yes, they're going to have an overall general knowledge of what is working,
Sure.
it's not working, but what is the superpower? So like when I became aware of who Yvonne was, as an example, right, within the ecosystem at the time, it was like, okay, she's the coach that will help you organize with your systems and processes and accountability. If you are struggling with systems, processes, accountability, or tech stack, that is the coach that you needed to get. And so if you were like, I need more skills or I need more marketing, yeah, you could help with that. But
Sure.
if you really wanted to,
Don't come to me and ask me how to do a freaking postcard. I don't give a crap. Okay, that's not my thing.
exactly. So
Go
when
to a marketing guru.
exactly. So as my career as an agent grew where I mastered skill, I already had marketing in place. And then I was starting to build a team and I was like, oh shit, I need systems, I need processes, I need procedures.
I need to figure out how the team should be structured, what the compensation is, how do I oversee them, what do we do with that, and should I even do it?
Right. Accountability, tracking and measuring, right? And so I was like, okay, I need Yvonne. And so at that time, you're right. And then of course trying to get into your schedule and
Yeah, that's where you knew but you had an in-depth, you knew what you needed at that point. And we all need something different through the years of being in the industry.
yeah.
So if you're a new agent, you need the basics, right? You need somebody that's going to basically tell you to get out of bed in the morning and go to work.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no boss that you're going to answer to, and there's no paycheck at the end of 2 weeks. So unless you make that happen, if you're more experienced, now you're going into more specialist kind of things. And that's where it becomes very important on who you choose. But you have a certain grit. There's something inside you that, is it a chip on your shoulder? Is it something you were raised with, that you were taught? What is that fire that kind of burns inside Sergio Gonzalez from the day that you wanted to be in cinematography to opening 13 states as a mortgage broker to then going into real estate? Like those are big shifts.
Yeah, I think that one is my parents, right? My dad, first generation from Mexico, served military, did all is like the American dream, right? Came over legally, went to the military, served the country, worked really hard, got the job, married my mom, and provided stability for the family, right? Like, man. And my mom, which allowed my mom to then fulfill her dream of entrepreneurship. She started a court reporting business company and that grew, which allowed and to provide for the family and go from lower class to very high middle class, upper middle class. And And so I think it was like watching and learning from my parents the work ethic, number one, right? And being my dad, first generation, I was like,
Hardcore.
it was hardcore. Like I did not get a lot of friend playtime. It was like, hey, we're gonna go pull some weeds, we're gonna go lay some bricks, we're gonna go do some
Yeah.
work shit. And
And if you didn't do it right,
yeah,
well, it didn't look good.
I didn't look good, right? So the work ethic, I think, learning from my parents, most importantly, to think ahead, to be a provider, and to work hard, right? I think the things that I had to combat with that was the mix of the two both worlds because my dad's, oh, get a good job and work your way up.
Stable.
Stable, right?
Yeah.
And my mom is like entrepreneurship, right? And
Yeah.
I was torn between obviously these two worlds growing up because even as I was a loan officer or I was launching the mortgage company or now escrow and real estate and whatnot, my dad's, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm good.
You're good. I'm good, Dad. Anything you need? You know?
Like there's no safety anymore.
But you say it's like both worlds, but really, you had the best of both worlds.
I have the best of
You
both.
got the work ethic and the entrepreneurship
Yeah.
gene in you, right? And so then you take that, and now you've got the taste, as my father, my old Italian father, who was like your dad, hardcore, but older, he said, you tasted the sweet in life too soon, little one. Okay. He used to say. But that was also what drove me as well. You want nice things, you want to have other things, and then you've tasted it. Now it's, oh, now how do I get more of that?
Yeah.
And so now, fast forward, you're selling real estate. Is that how you met Galen, your wife?
No, I met her when I was an account executive for Countrywide.
Oh, because
She was a real estate agent at a real estate and mortgage company, and her best friend was my client as a loan officer. And
how funny.
yeah.
I was a title rep and met my husband, who was a realtor.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2006, 7-ish, that company was closing as part of that crash. And so her and her friend were agents, and I had a broker's license. And they're like, hey, the office is closing. We want to continue to do real estate. Can we do it under your license? And I'd known them for years at that point since 2003.
Right.
I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so we started working together and we started partying together, of course. And then boom, here we are. 6 kids later.
6 children later.
6 kids
I'd say you were a
later.
pretty good match.
Yeah. So we've been together ever since. I think that was like 2007, 8-ish, and then married, kids, and we've been self-employed throughout that time.
And Galen is the head of your escrow companies, right?
Yeah, so she transitioned from also being successful realtor to when we launched the escrow company, managing that, and then now the title company where she's managing that. So we've
So let's talk about this a little bit.
okay.
So you go from selling real estate successfully. You establish yourself in the 805 as a top realtor. All of a sudden, you go, I'm going to open a title company, an escrow company, but it's not, people have to understand, and I want to give the overview. There's a lot of realtors in the industry out in the United States, other states other than California, who have relationships or percentages with title companies. They didn't build the title company from the ground up, and they're not the actual title company per se. You chose to do this in the state of California, and I'll never forget the conversation I had with you. I'm like, you know what state you're in, right? So you're going to start a title company. You already had the escrow company going, and you're going to go in. And this is not like little playtime stuff. This is giant because California has some of the biggest regulations on the title industry, the escrow industry, because we still have independent escrows in the state of California. Department of Corporations, Department of Insurance comes into play. What drove you to do that? And now you're in 2 states going on 3?
Correct. Yeah. So to back up even like on the real estate. So after what I learned in Santa Barbara as a solo agent was that the consumer was choosing me. And I learned that I had to provide my own marketing, my own branding, my own value proposition, my own investments into myself. I'm like, what
Right.
is this company even worth to me? Really? Right. And so I was putting that together. So when we moved to Westlake Village, and I said, okay, I'm going to do real estate here. I was like, I'm going to start a company that nobody has heard of with an agent that nobody has heard of. And I'm going to sell luxury real estate. And I'm going to prove to people that all this story that we are told is that in order to sell luxury real estate, you need our brand. You need our office count. You need our agent count. You need our marketing. You need this club. You need this certificate. You need this membership in order
You
to,
need to be in this room.
you need to be in this room. I was like, that's all bullshit.
It is
We're,
bullshit.
you're sold bullshit. And so I called bullshit on that and boom, I did it, right? I was selling high end. Oh, and I'm Mexican, Latino, because that's another thing. And so I was like, I'm going to prove to people that it's all bullshit and also don't play the victim at the same time because
Right.
I don't believe in that. And so I proved it and I did it. But that also comes at a cost, right? Which
Yes.
is you need to be you need to be prepared when you take that kind of stance that you will become the biggest target, that
Yep.
you will create enemies, that people will target you. Like you have to be mentally like able toughness to be able to take.
The thickest skin you could ever think of.
Correct. I had brokerages attacking me. I had agents attacking me. I have the local board attacking me because it's a mafia within those scenarios. So, anyways, I won, I proved, I executed. But then I also started to recognize that, okay, what am I building here? I have, at that time, I was probably 3 or 4 kids. And I'm like, what am I building here? What am I doing here with all this either money, success, or whatever the case may be? What's the game plan here? What's the exit strategy here? And I'm watching the agents in the community and I'm like, you're 70, you're 80, and you're still selling houses.
Yep.
That is not the direction I want to go in. And so I started to become aware of what other verticals, businesses can I start, invest in, create that can create value that can operate without me being the quote unquote at the forefront and have an exit at the same time. So the first one I created was a property management company. And Lee Arnold, shout out to Lee,
Yeah.
mentored me because he had a successful. And I was like, hey, dude, like I want to start this. And he's like, yeah, let me help you. Boom, boom. And we did that. And so that business kicked off. And I was like, this is nice, providing some stability, some cash flow. And it's still running through even today.
Right.
And then I was like, what's this escrow business stuff going on? So we launched the escrow company. First, it was DRE for our own team, right? Production. And then we progressed. And I was like, you know what? I'm watching how big these other escrow companies are. And I'm watching like the exits that are happening. Oh, sold for 30 million, sold for 60 million. Most recently, Glen Oaks Pango Group sold to First American for 130 million. I was like, okay, I need to grow. I need to spend more and grow that business. And that was like now 2020. And the escrow business within a year was doing 7 figures, like boom. And I was like almost making more than what I'm having to do in as an agent. And I can, and like, the real estate is reliant on me as the rainmaker of a team. And
Because you could have went a different direction at that point. That was a turning point. That was like a fork in the road, in my opinion, because you could have said, yeah, I'm going to really truly put it all in and build this real estate brokerage and team, right? And taking yourself out of production and built people around you, which is now the models that we're starting to see. But you chose the opposite direction. the escrow direction
Right.
at the same time as title.
Because think about it, right? Like I missed the boat in the time of real estate where teams were being purchased, which was
Right.
roughly around 2016, 17. I was just forming my team, but teams were being bought for a massive amount of money at that time. Compass,
Yep.
Coldwell, right? All that stuff was happening. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do, right? That's gonna be my exit or my payday. And so once I recognized, okay, that boat was missed, and then I was building my team, in which we were top team, number one team, yada. And I'm like, but no one's going to buy my team.
No.
And I see now they're of no value because once the teams are bought, everybody disperses, and then you're
Right.
on the hook for 2 or 3 years, and then you're back to work.
Right.
And I'm like, no, thank you. And so I said, but these escrow companies, like I just keep seeing them getting paid on multiples. And I was like, you hire escrow officers, you hire reps. And I was like, I've already been a rep. I already know how to drive business. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go all in on building the escrow company. And so that was now that the escrow company was 2018. This is now 2021. And I was like, the escrow company's cranking now. Boom, boom. It's cranking. And I was like, what's happening in this title world? Because I already have 50% of the business, which is the harder part of the business, in my opinion, where all the work actually gets done, where all the mistakes and friction and conflict happens. The title side of the business is honestly like a cake.
It's insurance.
Yeah, it's fucking insurance.
That never has to usually pay out.
I'm like, this is a racket.
It is a racket. I knew that back in 1985
Right.
when I started.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a racket. How do I get in on this racket, essentially? And so I applied and did some research. How do I do this? I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money.
But it cost a lot of money to actually do what you did.
Correct. Yeah, a massive amount of money. So
massive amount.
All the money that I made in real estate, I was just like, let's on black. And it was probably the hardest approval process like that I've ever gone through. Like getting an escrow license was not hard, like easy peasy. Getting a title license, like that was no joke.
No joke.
It was no joke. I got like an MBA, like really quick on what it takes. And
I was coaching you during that time, and it was so interesting because Galen would come on the call. She was like 6 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant with your sixth child, and she's just the hormones are going crazy, and you're like,
I'm surprised.
You're like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You had a few lawsuits that were like extenuating circumstances on the escrow side, and there was all kinds of things happening in your world, and
all kinds of things. And I think I think people don't understand are what's the word? Not misinformed, but disillusioned. Oh, and they almost wear it as a badge. Oh, I've never been sued, or I've never, and I'm like, that's because you don't do enough business. That's because
you're not doing enough to get sued.
Yeah, you're not doing enough to get sued. And so I remember getting my first employment lawsuit. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I'm being sued by an employee. And I called my mentor at that time. I was like, hey man, I just got served. I remember my first one. He's just call your attorney. They're going to handle it and move on. And don't worry about it. Don't even.
Yeah. You have an attorney on retainer? Great. Call him. Let him do his job.
He won't be your last. You'll have many of these. And I was like, okay. And so now, boom, you get served. I'm like, oh yeah, attorney here, please handle this, handle that. So if you haven't been sued or you haven't found yourself in litigation, you haven't done enough. You have not shaken things up enough.
It's funny. I remember the first file that we had called in, right, real estate file. Our attorney said, if everybody documented a file like you guys do, I'd be out of work. So hence my operational guidelines in the background. If you're going to get sued, just know that anything can get sued at any time. We're out of California, so we're used.
And it's California.
It's California. It's a litigious state. It is what it is.
I remember my last suit in real estate as a listing agent. It was like $3.5 million deal. we're at the mediator conference, and so buyers there, sellers there, mediator, myself, and these everything SPQs filled, TDS filled, disclosure. So it was a not quote unquote non-disclosure lawsuit, roof leak, something. And so SPQ looks good, TDS looks good. Why is the real
Why are we here?
why is the real estate broker here? Oh, they have insurance. They'll pay. My client said that was my client that said that. And I was like, you just heard, we did nothing wrong. Why are they here? And it was like, oh, they have insurance. Their insurance will pay. And I'm like, mofo, you just increased my E&O insurance by triple. And I was like,
so guess what? Your commission just went up to 4% on the listing side. Nobody, and this is the whole lawsuit thing. When people get into talking about lawsuits and they're going to sue somebody and they're going to go after somebody here, it does nothing for us on the street as consumers, as business owners. It's figure out how to work it out. Like we were always like, if you can figure out how to work something out before it ever gets to the point where you're just giving an attorney retirement money, then figure out how to work it out, because nobody really wins. Okay. And usually in our industry, it's not like somebody died on the operating table.
And also too, like, even though you're right,
figure out how to work it out before ever going.
Do you want to be right? Prove
right.
your point. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be rich? I guess like you got to
exactly
because to prove your point to be right is also still expensive.
Right? Very expensive. And see, and that's where you, in your situations with now all of these businesses that you run, I find it interesting because now you're not selling real estate anymore, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So not selling real estate anymore. Now you're on the other side and realtors are your clients again. So that's where like consumers were my primary clients for 30 years. And then over the last 16, realtors are also my clients. Yeah. They're different kind of clients.
Yep.
So what's advice that you would give to the realtors out there when deciding who your affiliated services are going to be that you decide to align yourself with? Because I have my personal opinions on how we worked aligning ourselves with affiliated services. But I want to hear from your perspective because you've been in both spots, just that you've actually owned now the companies. So what's your best message to realtors out there when they're choosing affiliated services?
Yeah, I think that one is the industry, unfortunately, right? I would say like just the consumer perceives realtors, which is low on the totem pole, low on the respect, right? The low on the quote unquote value that you bring, right? That perception, that status is the same perception and status that realtors have of affiliates, whether that's a lender or a title or an escrow or a home warranty, right? It's the same situation. And when you think about how are you changing your perception or how are you trying to differentiate yourself as an agent to the consumers to elevate that status, takes a lot. The same thing applies to the title and escrow and all these other affiliates. Unfortunately, for as long as I've been in real estate, it hasn't been very much. It was like, what cups do you need? What desk calendar do you need? What calculator do you need? And pens, right? As far as quote unquote value and or the illegal shit that's going down because they're having to buy business because in the absence of value, right? That's what you are left with, which is having to buy business very similarly to an agent to the consumer. In the absence of value, you will have to buy that business by lowering your commission and or doing some illegal shit. I'm going to give you commission or I'll do this and do that. It's the same.
Here's the envelope with cash in it at closing and all of that.
Exactly, right? Pay outside of escrow, yada, yada, yada. So same, right? So you as a realtor need to decide or really interview who is actually bringing value to your business, right? And so you should have interview questions, right? Just like a consumer is interviewing, the agent should be interviewing all their affiliates. And also like where they're at in that process of their business, right? So they're in a journey, they're in a path of their business. I like to put them in classmen kind of organization, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And so if you're speaking to a freshman agent, the affiliate should be able to bring value to that agent in that stage of their career. And the most valuable will be able to help them progress through that journey. Some affiliates are only good with new agents, freshmen. Some are better at senior, some are better at sophomore, and so on. And so if you can't bring value, correlate, help solve problems for the agent, and I think even throwing the word value, like people are confused about what that really means.
Yeah, they are.
Do you know how to solve problems? That is value, right? Do you know how to solve problems and get people to be aware of problems they don't even know they have? And if your affiliate doesn't understand how to do that to help you uncover problems you're not even aware of, solve problems you don't know how to solve with either resources and so on, like you're dealing with the wrong people. And I think that the biggest trap they find themselves in is that I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my lender. I'm loyal to my title rep, my escrow rep. I tell people all the time, do not be loyal to me.
No.
I have to earn that every single deal and every interaction that we have. The minute I stop solving problems for you, the minute I stop making a difference for you, and somebody else comes along and is able to solve a problem that I don't have the ability to solve for you, they deserve that business. And if you are stuck in loyalty, it is coming at the biggest expense and the biggest cost of your professional development and potential income in your business. And I think that's why there's levels to the game, right? And
I agree 1,000%. And I just keep thinking of stories from my own history, right? When we were in the 2008 crash, we were doing about 120 transactions a year, but we couldn't direct the services because the asset management companies were directing those services. However, a long-time title company just assumed we can't direct the business, so they stopped calling on us. We had given them hundreds and hundreds of deals for the previous 15 years. And they just dropped us like a hot potato because during that time, when the market shifted, there was another title company that was coming to me during that time when we couldn't direct. And it's going, hey, here's the newest, latest, greatest app that just came out. Here's the newest, latest, greatest thing that is the new technology coming out. I still credit that rep for bringing that company was doing early investigations of tech companies and bringing all the new startups to me when I couldn't direct title to them. In 2012, the whole market shifted. We had no more foreclosures and it was all short sales. And I directed 42 short sales in 1 year and I did them all the listings. So they all went to that new title company because she was there during the last 3 years. We couldn't direct the title. See, and that's where I look at it as we have to think of that as realtors. Realtors are like, they make one call, two calls, and they expect somebody to work with them, but then drop them like a hot potato. And then a year and a half later, wonder why they listed with the other agent. That's because you dropped them like a hot potato. Stick around long enough and keep providing value, and they'll remember you when it's time that they are going to do that. And the affiliated services all need to do the same thing. And you're 100% right. It's the same scenario. It's just different businesses, business to business.
Yeah. So, the other title companies, they own SkySlope. They own Breakthrough Broker. They own Commissions Inc. Right? So they are buying all these other companies, these sister companies, vertical companies, then they operate independently to bring value or whatever the case may be to their clients. Right? So we chose to basically follow that model, right? Just like the other title companies. 805 Media Works operates independently of the title company. It's just another company that also provides value, right? Through video marketing, through print marketing, and other services that the agents need. And so and just like we have the escrow company, we're going to launch a 1031 exchange company.
Ah, very good.
We're launching a CRM right now. We're launching a dashboard.
Oh, we need to talk about that.
So all kinds of verticals that we're now going to be launching and offering the industry, offering from real estate agents to other title companies to other escrow companies. And no different in that regard, but it is like solving problems, bringing value that they all become feeders to each other.
But I think there's the uniqueness of you personally, Sergio Gonzalez, and 805 companies overall. You have a direct recent connection to the industry as an agent, as a broker owner. You were in the lending industry. You know what's needed without even having to ask anybody.
Yeah. And
I mean, talk to a lot of people, and I know you are out there meeting with people. I see you at every conference I go to. You are out talking to people, and you have a finger on the pulse of everything, but you also have an innate instinct because you were in those seats. Yeah. What do you think is like the best way that an agent can utilize services that you provide? And what would you do if Sergio Gonzalez came to Sergio Gonzalez and said, I'm going to help you do a lot of deals every year. Right. And here's what I provide with all my companies.
I think that, again, like there are people in the real estate space, and finding those people, like you're coaching right now independently, and you over your years of experience, like you have a very unique perspective on the industry now to solve a lot of problems and understand where agents are, right? And how to get them to the next level. The same holds true for me. And so finding people like myself or like you, unless you're connected some way or have been exposed or having an open mind, being aware of and being open to new relationships, being open to new possibilities, because sometimes we get, and we're sometimes even told, right? Don't talk to anybody, don't talk to affiliates, don't talk to coaches, just listen to us, use our affiliates,
right,
in-house or whatever the case may be. And they put these blinders on you, right? And who's that benefiting? It's benefiting corporate or them, broker, their team leader, whatever the case may be. You have to be open to new relationships and new people at the same time. And if I were a new agent today, I would have an open mind to literally just about almost anybody. But as you start getting aware of people, like you will start to identify who really can help solve your problems. Right?
Who's real and who's not real.
Who's real and who's not real. And
who's jumped into a certain aspect of the industry because it looked like an easy thing to do.
Right. Like I tell people all the time, right? The data that I have access to, right? When I was an agent, like how was I going to compete? How was I going to stand out? How was I going to differentiate? How can I articulate value? And it really came down to data, right? Yep. Like in a neighborhood, in a marketplace and whatnot, and how that translates into marketing and the whole deal. Now I'm the title company and I have access to the same data. And I wish, like when my title rep gave me that data, it was just, here's your spreadsheet. I'm good. Send me the listing. Good luck. And I was like, I had to hire a VA to analyze that data, put it all in formulas, create charts and graphs, send it to my marketing team, then create social media, create email, create pamphlets, create direct mail, create animation for it so that I could then market myself. We're doing that now essentially for clients because I don't want an agent to feel like I felt when I was an agent trying to be perceived as the expert in a neighborhood, in a marketplace. I want them to have all that all packaged up and all done for them. So that's what we do now with title data. And here's how you use it at an open house. Here's how you use it at the listing presentation. Here's how you use it in social media, email, video marketing, because we've done it all, right? And so That
I'm not sure that agents even realize how much data a title company in any state in the country can give you. Now, there's a lot of title companies out there in different states. Oh, we don't have that information. Okay. So it's like I can still go and pull that information. I can find somebody who actually is out there that has the data and wants to help. Now, granted, you can check the box on the MLS when you close a deal that says don't report it. Okay. But that doesn't mean that a title rep or a title company shouldn't have access to the county records and be able to pull that information that's publicly on the county records that the appraisers get and everybody else, and be able to disseminate it and then hand it to me as a realtor.
I think MLS data is important, but it's a piece of the
Only a
puzzle.
piece.
It's only a piece. When you want accurate data, when you want a complete picture, you have to marry it with title, county, record, assessor data, because how many sales were taken off market, were sold off market? How many cash buyers were there in your market, right? So, and what are the trends over a 4-year period?
Right.
Not the last 90 days, not the last 3 months or even a year, 4-year period. And there's so much analysis that you can do with that data, right? How much equity, what type of loans are being taken, all kinds of extra data that you can bring to value to the conversations in your marketing, and that agents don't really think about. And
so I have a question on that part. How do you guys, and what's your take on utilizing AI in this kind of, in that data accumulation and dissemination?
it all does the crunching for you now, essentially.
Which one do you prefer?
ChatGPT is the ones that we use a lot. So it'll analyze all the data for us. It'll give us the charts and graphs now. Not exactly how we want it quite yet, but we're getting there. But it's data is king. Data is king. And so when you think about like how do you be the expert, and you bring in the economists, some of the agents are on Fox or whatever newscast, it's data. It's always about data. And so if you don't know how to accumulate the data, crunch the data, analyze the data, articulate the data,
it's just feelings.
It's just feelings, right?
It's emotions and feelings. I always tell when a client comes to me and I'm doing a private consult with that realtor, and I'm like, tell me what's happened here in this time frame of your business and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I did this and it felt like that. And I'm like, I need data. I don't do emotional decision making. And so I am a huge, and people think of data and they think of the big portals and the big companies that are stealing all our data, right? And it's no, everybody's stealing the data. Okay.
Exactly. Everybody has access to your clients.
Everybody, right? And so what are you doing with the data of your hyper local area that you want to know? If you are in a market, like I was talking to one of my clients a couple weeks ago, and I said, they're in Oregon. Okay. So Portland area, a rough market right now. They're having like a 30% decline in housing and all of that. They're in a luxury market outside of Portland. And I'm like, so who's buying luxury in outside of Portland, Oregon? Are they coming in from California like they used to? Are they coming in from Seattle? What are they? No, they're not coming in from out there. I said, where are they coming from? They're people that want to stay in Oregon and near Portland. They're leaving the city proper. They're going to the outskirts because they're selling big, expensive stuff in the city and for a lot less. And they're going out to the suburbs of the luxury market out there. Are you finding the data of your local Portland metro and then marketing to those people who need to then get out of the city? Okay. Yep. And it was like the clouds opened. And I was like, okay, that's basic. That's just basic. If you're knowing where your clients are coming from, where people are moving out of, all of that's data. That if you're not using the data, then you're going to a listing presentation and you're talking to a buyer from emotions. No wonder they don't have confidence in you, because the black and white. I was talking to my friend Jeremy Davis over at Palm Agent, and I said, I've been using Palm Agent like for 10 years. Okay. And we used it all the time. It was my best closing tool, because when I'm standing in a house as a realtor, and the buyer is placing their furniture, well, I know they're going to probably write an offer. But the last thing that they need to see is the data to make them calm about how much it's going to cost them. So while they're placing the furniture and loving the house, I'm going like this. And then I say, I just texted you what it's going to cost you to buy this house. It's in black and white. They open it up. They're like, oh, we can do that. Okay. Best closing tool I ever used. But it's data. It's information. Okay. And then it made me look good. So yes, they need to come to people like you for the data, because we're too busy. If you're selling real estate, you're too busy to actually get deep. Bandwidth is needed.
Yes.
So if someone like you can provide it, hey, I'm all in for that.
And not just provide it, but what are the ways that I can leverage?
Teach you how to leverage it.
Because there's a lot of things that are given to you and you don't know what to do with it, or different ways that you could use it. So like example is, okay, here's the data on this neighborhood as an example, right? We've done all the analysis over a 4-year period. Average list price, sales price, days on market, sales price to list price ratio, total volume, sales price to list price, highest price, lowest price, number of homes listed, closed, right? All of that data, we upload it now to ChatGPT. And now you can say, please create a 60-second script targeted to the homeowners of ABC neighborhood that potentially are looking to list. Please analyze the data, craft a script with a call to action at the end. Boom. Now it's analyzing and it'll give you the script for that data, right? And it's really good because you can say, act as Alex Hermosi, act as so-and-so influencer, right? And
act as Jamie Dimon.
Act as Jamie Dimon, whatever the case may be. But then you can also say, okay, and also give me the content for a 8.5 by 11 direct mail piece, front side, call to action, whatnot, backside information. And then you can take that and say, okay, now give me a prompt to drop that into Canva so it can be created. So it's now just boom, boom. But it all starts with data. You have
to give it something to work with.
You have to give it something. And so it's not hard anymore. I don't think any agent at this point has any excuse. Oh, I don't have an assistant. Oh, I don't have a marketing person.
You do have an assistant. There's the assistant is sitting in your computer.
It's sitting in your computer. And if you don't know how to use it, then ask it, how do you use it?
Yeah, or call me and I'll help you how to hire a VA that can then figure out how to do it.
Exactly.
So I love it. Sergio?
Yes.
This was fun. And I'm going to have Galen on next.
Yeah.
We're going to talk the woman's side of the entrepreneurial world and real estate. I love it. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you very much. I love being a bystander watching you succeed, and anything you ever need, you can just reach out.
Of course. And of course, if you guys want the best coaching, building your business, systems, processes, accountability, and team, Yvonne has done wonders for me.
Thank you.
During my time as an agent, building that team, building the business, and even as I transitioned into starting other businesses, she's one of the best. So
thank you. Appreciate you.